Hey, it's Karrington with K&K's Indie Gaming Corner. So, unfortunately, it is just me today. Kyle has had some technical difficulties, so we were going to do something different this time, and that was he was going to take the lead on one interview, so that is going to be on hold for now, unfortunately, and I was going to take the lead on another interview, which is what you're going to see today. We've also had kind of a crazy week. Shout out to Phil the Chef for visiting us all the way from Minnesota to Little Ohio. And so he was with us this past week, and we were not able to record on our normal day. And so sorry to you who are listening, who listen not on a regular basis. However, it was worth it. And, Phil the Chef takes precedence over something like that because he's a good friend of ours. And we had a great time filled with disc golf and baseball, as in we got to watch the Cincinnati Reds and all kinds of other shenanigans. So I said I was going to take the lead on an interview while Kyle was here. And let's just jump into it. Let me bring up my notes really quick. So sorry about that. So I am going to be talking about a game called Omari from Omocat. So full disclosure, we try and keep things family friendly here, especially when it comes to our video games, because we know our audience is very varied. Sometimes they have kids with them, or maybe kids listen. So full disclosure, when I first looked this game up, it was rated T, and for whatever reason, it was switched to rated M at some point. I don't know why. So I don't remember or recall anything that was crazy or out of place as far as like violence or language or anything like that. I don't recall anything. However, the themes and details in this game are quite heavy. So keep that in mind as we are or as I talk about the game. So how do I start with Omari? Like, it's a game that is hard to define. As it's an RPG, very much in the vein of something like Earthbound. So if you are like fans of that genre or type of RPG, this is definitely in your house, or up your alley kind of thing. So it's definitely an RPG with stats and things like that. It definitely reminds me of Earthbound because of the way the battles are set up, the way the characters look, the way the game itself looks when you're in the overworld. It definitely has that look and feel to it. Which, if that's something that interests you, I would say go for it. This game is definitely worth it. I can't say I grew up with Earthbound. I didn't even know Earthbound even existed until Super Smash Bros. Came out and Ness was a character. I don't know this Ness character. Oh, he's from Earthbound. Oh, Earthbound's a hard game to get a hold of. Okay, cool. And then I went about my day. And then I think it was made available digitally on the Wii, I want to say. And that was my first introduction to the Earthbound franchise. Now, Omari, oh boy, how do I talk about this game without spoiling it too much? That's going to be the hard part, honestly. It's like I said, the themes are very heavy, dealing with like anxiety and depression and suicide and things like that. So, wow, it was one of the reasons why I wanted to play it, because I wanted to see how the game handled those subjects. Because one of my favorite games that we've interviewed on the show before, if you're a longtime fan, back on Real Dudes podcast, we handled Celeste, and that's one of our favorite games we've ever played, even personally, because it does handle those subjects a lot, and it goes deep into it. Omari does the same, but in a different way. And sorry if it sounds like my thoughts are kind of all over the place, because I did not write down a review because Kyle and I were expected to record today. Oh, Yeah. So the game opens up, you're kind of in this white space, okay? So the white space kind of serves as a portal between two different worlds. One world, which is where you're going to spend a majority of your time actually, takes place in this fun, super colorful, super bright, super whimsical um, world. Um, yeah, that's all. I'm gonna stop there. So that's one world, and that's where a lot of the fun and happiness comes in. A lot of just, I, yeah, yeah. I'll leave it there. And then whenever you enter the white space, you're going in between each world. Um, it's very clear that's not real or some sort of fantasy. It's very clear. When I say that that world is bright colored, like everything is bright colored except for Omari, who's the title character that takes place in the fantasy world. And what do I mean by that? Omari is black and white, and is the only one that's black and white in that fantasy world. And it's very obvious. There's a reason for that, even right out the gate. And it stood out to me immediately. And Omari's kind of like this super emo kind of personality, very quiet, and definitely plays to it. All of his friends and all of the characters around him are super happy, super whimsical, and super just, outgoing, and basically forces Omari to have a good time. And Omari definitely does enjoy his friends and his colleagues and and just, it doesn't matter. And yeah, and then there's what I refer to as like the real world. So you'll end so when something happens, I'm not going to say what because I don't want to spoil it. So a lot of times something will happen in the fantasy world. You'll end up in the white space and then get transferred to the real world. And there, um I, I believe Sunny is the default name, but I name mine's John, which is my middle name. That's the character you can name. And John, it's the first time you go into the real world. John is home alone. He does have a mom. They're in the middle of a move, and it's quite evident once you exit the prologue, as well, that there's 3 days until the move. So you have, and it's not like a Majora's Mask situation where it's like, oh, you've got 3 days to live and save the world, blah blah blah. No, no, it's nothing like that. It's 3 days basically until the end of the game, and it is final. And there are multiple endings. The real world is where most of like the heavy stuff happens, and that's when you start putting pieces together. The fantasy world is affected by the real world in a way. Like I said, I don't want to try to give too much away because it's just something you have to experience for yourself. And in the real world, there are some battles that happen for sure. Um, at first, it's not set up that way, but as you continue on, you do like battles in the real world. Um, what else can I say about the real world? It's not as bright and colorful as the fantasy world. It's just not, but it's set up that way on purpose. And Sunny is going through a lot of things and dealing with a lot of things. And Sunny is just trying to deal with the situation at hand. And I am being vague on purpose because if you want to play it, and I wish Kyle was here because so we could ask questions and we can enter like spoiler territory and things like that. Because he's not here, I want to be very careful about how I word everything because I don't want to give anything away. And I know, like maybe you're listening, but like, Karrington, I want you to spoil it. I want you to spoil it. Um, I don't know how to completely spoil it for those that maybe don't want it spoiled. Again, the game is called Omari. It's available on all platforms. It's even available on Game Pass, which is how I spent the majority of the game playing it was on Game Pass streaming. So I played it whenever, wherever. It didn't take me too long to get through it. The prologue is pretty long though. Like I would say the prologue probably took me about 2 3 hours to get through, and then after that, the game moved pretty quickly. I will say that it moved pretty quickly in a good way though. Probably take about 10-ish hours to complete. That's including side quests and things like that. It gets heavy. It gets real heavy. I will say that. As someone who loves those kinds of storylines and does deal with things like anxiety and depression and things like that. I was interested to see how it dealt with those things, and it handles it very well. If you are prone to certain thoughts and things like that, this probably isn't the game for you. I will definitely say that because it does deal with a lot of heavy subjects as you get into it. The prologue is pretty light, and you just get this feeling that something's not all there and that something is just off. And yeah, yeah, it definitely is. Like I felt uneasy the entire time, but I will say the comedy and the writing is great. It's fantastic, and it's on par with stuff like Earthbound. Um, and sorry, I'm gonna look this up because I do not remember the name of this game. Undertale. Yeah, I had it in my notes. So it's definitely in the veil of like Undertale and Earthbound. It's just as funny, just as whimsical, just as I don't know, just as fun. It's still fun. It's still a great game. It's this game is definitely gonna fly under the radar for a lot of people for sure. Um, this game technically came out 2 years ago, I think, in 2020 on the PC on Steam, and it just recently dropped on all consoles. PlayStation, Switch, Xbox. So it just got a console release, and I didn't even know about it 2 years ago. I just heard about it, so that's why I'm just like, you know, I'm just reviewing it myself. I'm just going through it myself. I'm playing it myself. I'm trying to think if I can think of anything else. The combat's good, solid. It's not too hard, but it's not too easy either. I did die quite a few times, and but at the same time, the times I did die, in the battles, and then tried it again, second time through, I usually got it right away. Interesting thing about the game as well, the engine it used is RPG Maker. For those of you that know that, I there aren't too many games commercially that you can buy that are made with RPG Maker. So hats off to the developer because that was perfect. So that was the perfect engine to use for a game like that. And the entire time I'm playing, I'm like, wow, the amount of detail in that game and the amount of work that probably went into while using RPG Maker to make Omari, hats off because there's a lot in there, between dialogue, between side quests, cutscenes, all of that. Wow, absolutely wow. Trying to think if I can think of anything else about Omari before I give it the final score. Music is great, actually. The score was fantastic. Between the music in between each worlds definitely reflects each world and the mood that's happening on screen very well while dealing with these topics. Um, I don't know what else to say except, I mean, I will try and voice the story without spoiling anything. It is about a boy named Omari slash Sunny who is dealing with loss the best way that they can, and you're playing through the situation so Omari can either confront that situation that's making them so depressed, or have that grief consume them. That's where I'm gonna put it, and that's what I'll say about it. My final score for Omari is probably an 8.5 out of 10. Um, Yeah, yeah. That prologue is a little long, which knocks it down a little bit. So I'm sorry if the developer's listening. Um, but at the same time, the story was handled great, handled beautifully. I have no complaints about the battles. The It's comedic when it needs to be at the right times. I legitimately did laugh out loud at a lot of the jokes and the characters and the situations that some of those characters were in, especially during the prologue. And I want to stress that, especially during the prologue, because once you exit the prologue, it gets pretty real. So, um, yeah, yeah, that's Omari for you guys. I wish Kyle was here. Don't worry, he is going to be here, and we will talk about uh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge, also available on platforms. And he took the lead on that. And that is a game that, while he was reviewing, we did play together on stream, even. So if you're listening, please follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/KK Indie Gaming. We had a great time. We even spent about we beat the game on like story mode. Phil the chef joined us as well over there, and it was a great time. We absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. But I am not going to give it a grade or a rating because that was Kyle's thing, and he played way more of it than I did for that reason. While I focused on Omari. Something to look forward to. We did interview the creators of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. Try saying that 5 times fast, and that will be released shortly. And it's worth it. I look forward to when it drops. If you're listening to this before that episode drops, it will be out in a few days. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else you guys look forward to at the moment. Nothing. Kyle and I will definitely be streaming a lot more often. But right now, weekends only will be the times we stream. Weekends only, because unfortunately, we do have jobs and lives that take us away from that stuff. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to us on our various social medias at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or even Twitch while we're streaming. KK Indie Gaming is the @ for all of those things. And you can send us a voicemail if you're listening to us on Anchor. Yeah, that's all I got to say. 85 Omari. If you have any questions about Omari, if we have differing opinions about Omari, hit us up. We would love to talk to you about it. I tried to talk about it as much as I could. If you like this format, let us know. Comment below or, message us. It's whatever. And as always, have a good day.